The year is 1202. Europe is a tapestry woven with threads of faith, ambition, and simmering conflict. Across the continent, a fervor ignites, the Fourth Crusade, a holy expedition promised to reclaim Jerusalem, the sacred city under the dominion of the Saracens. Imagine the scene: armies gather, banners emblazoned with the cross, a sea of devout warriors, their hearts ablaze with righteous zeal, their minds fixed on the liberation of the Holy Land. Knights clad in shining armor, their swords gleaming under the pale sun, pilgrims with worn sandals and hopeful eyes, all bound by a single, unwavering purpose: to fight for God and reclaim what they believed was rightfully theirs. This wasn't merely a military campaign, it was a pilgrimage, a sacred journey undertaken with unwavering faith. These were not just soldiers, but devout Christians, embarking on a quest to cleanse the Holy Land from the infidel presence. Their prayers echoed across the fields as they marched, their chants a powerful testament to their unwavering belief. They carried with them relics and sacred objects, symbols of their faith, offering them up as a testament to their devotion. Each step was a prayer, each swing of the sword a sacred act. The journey itself was an ordeal, a testament to the dedication of these crusaders. They traversed treacherous landscapes, endured harsh weather conditions, and faced the ever-present threat of disease and famine. Yet, their faith remained unshaken. They endured hardship, not as mere soldiers, but as pilgrims on a sacred quest. Their determination was forged in the fires of their unwavering belief, their spirit tempered by the trials they faced. The promise of salvation, of eternal reward in the afterlife, fueled their every step. News of the crusade spread like wildfire, igniting the imaginations of people across Europe. Monasteries and churches buzzed with activity, as donations poured in, supporting the massive undertaking. The wealthiest patrons pledged their fortunes, while ordinary citizens contributed what little they could spare. The Fourth Crusade transcended the boundaries of mere military endeavor, becoming a powerful symbol of collective faith and shared purpose. But beneath the veneer of piety, the seeds of discord were sown. Ambition, greed, and political maneuvering lurked beneath the surface of this seemingly devout undertaking. The very ideals that inspired the crusade were about to be brutally tested, their purity threatened by the insidious forces of human nature. The initial image of a unified, holy army, marching towards a single, noble goal, was a facade, a carefully constructed illusion that would soon crumble under the weight of its own contradictions. The path to the Holy Land, it seemed, was paved not only with good intentions, but also with the treacherous stones of deception and self-interest. The journey began with a fervent prayer, but its destination remained shrouded in a fog of uncertainty, a promise yet to be fulfilled, or perhaps, irrevocably broken. The seemingly pious journey, destined for the Holy Land, was about to embark on a course far removed from its intended destination. A course paved with betrayal and bloodshed, a course that would forever alter the course of history. The seemingly pious journey, a deceptive calm before the storm. The year is 1202. Europe, fractured and fervent, breathes a collective sigh of righteous indignation. Jerusalem, the hallowed city, the cradle of Christianity, lies under the dominion of Islam. For centuries, the whispers of pilgrimage have swelled into a roar, a tide of devout warriors yearning to reclaim the Holy Land, to cleanse the sacred ground from infidel hands. The Fourth Crusade, a holy expedition sanctioned by the Pope himself, is born from this yearning, a testament to unwavering faith, or so it seems. This wasn't simply a military campaign, it was a pilgrimage of immense scale, a spiritual odyssey undertaken by thousands, fueled by a potent cocktail of religious zeal and fervent patriotism. Noble knights, seasoned warriors, humble pilgrims, even ordinary citizens, all converged, bound by a common goal, the liberation of Jerusalem. Their banners, emblazoned with crosses and the symbols of their respective kingdoms, represented a unified front against a perceived enemy, a shared aspiration to reclaim the birthplace of their faith. Imagine the scene: armies gathering, a symphony of clashing steel and fervent prayers. The air thick with anticipation, the scent of sweat and horses, mingled with the incense of countless religious rites. Months of rigorous preparation, of assembling supplies, of raising funds, culminated in this momentous undertaking. Each knight, each soldier, carried not just a sword and shield, but the weight of Christendom's hopes upon their shoulders. Their journey, initially, was a testament to unwavering devotion. They traveled across vast distances, braving treacherous terrains, enduring hardships and privations, all for the sake of their shared cause. Their determination was fueled by a profound belief in their divinely ordained mission, a belief that their actions were sanctioned by God Himself, a belief that their ultimate victory was preordained. The initial plan was simple, yet monumental in its scope: to recapture Jerusalem. This wasn't just about conquering a city, it was about reclaiming a spiritual heartland, a place of immense religious significance. It was about restoring the balance, righting a historical wrong, and demonstrating the unwavering power of Christendom. The Muslim rule over Jerusalem was seen as an affront, a sacrilege, an unbearable stain upon the sanctity of the Holy Land. To reclaim it was to cleanse the land, to restore its rightful place within the Christian world, to reaffirm the supremacy of their faith. The very air they breathed, the ground they walked upon, was infused with the weight of this sacred purpose. The Crusade's initial momentum was fueled by this clear, unwavering objective: the liberation of Jerusalem. This singular focus, this shared vision, bound together the diverse forces that comprised the Fourth Crusade, temporarily eclipsing the internal conflicts and rivalries that would later plague the expedition. Every step, every sacrifice, was directed toward this ultimate goal, a goal that seemed, at the outset, both attainable and divinely ordained. The initial fervor, the unwavering faith, the collective aspiration to reclaim Jerusalem, these were the defining characteristics of the Fourth Crusade in its nascent stages. It was a moment of unity, of shared purpose, of profound religious conviction. But this seemingly pious journey, this holy expedition, was destined for a path far removed from its initial, noble intentions. A path fraught with betrayal, greed, and violence, a path that would irrevocably alter the course of history. The initial plan, so pure in its conception, would soon be twisted and corrupted, leading to consequences far more devastating than anyone could have ever imagined. The dream of reclaiming Jerusalem would soon be replaced by a nightmare of unimaginable proportions. The Fourth Crusade. A holy mission, ostensibly bound for Jerusalem, a city steeped in religious significance, held captive under Muslim rule. Yet, the path to salvation, it seemed, was paved not with piety, but with treachery. The story takes a sharp, unexpected turn in the shimmering canals of Venice, a city renowned for its opulent merchant class and its shrewd political maneuvering. The Crusaders, a formidable army, arrived in Venice, their coffers depleted, their supplies dwindling, their very journey hanging precariously in the balance. This was not merely a religious undertaking, it was also a logistical nightmare. And Venice, ever the astute player on the world stage, saw an opportunity, a chance to leverage the Crusaders' desperation for its own considerable gain. Doge Enrico Dandolo, the Venetian leader, a man of remarkable cunning and ambition, presented the Crusaders with a proposition that would forever alter the course of history. A proposition that would transform a holy war into a mercenary expedition, diverting it far from its intended target. He offered them a deal, a seemingly generous offer that masked a calculated betrayal. In exchange for military service, the Venetians would provide the Crusaders with the ships, the provisions, the very means necessary to reach the Holy Land. A seemingly simple transaction, but the price, as it turned out, would be far greater than any sum of gold or silver. The terms of this agreement, however, contained a crucial, and deeply unsettling, clause. The Venetians, owing a significant debt to the Byzantine Empire, proposed a strategic shift in the Crusade's objective. Before the Crusaders could set sail towards Jerusalem, they were required to conquer Zara, a wealthy Christian city on the Dalmatian coast, a city that was, at the time, under the control of the King of Hungary. This was a shocking demand, a betrayal of the very principles upon which the Crusade was founded. To attack a fellow Christian city, a city that posed no threat to the Holy Land, was an act of unprecedented sacrilege. Yet, the Crusaders, weakened and financially crippled, found themselves trapped in a web of Venetian intrigue, their options severely limited. The lure of financial security, the promise of replenishing their depleted resources, proved too tempting to resist. The Venetians' motive was crystal clear: Zara was a rich and powerful city, ripe for the plundering. Its capture would not only settle Venice's debt with the Byzantine Empire but also bring immense wealth and power to the Venetian Republic. The Crusaders, blind to the long-term implications, readily agreed, driven by their own desperate circumstances. The moral compass of the crusade was irrevocably skewed. The holy mission, initially fueled by religious zeal, was now driven by the base desires of greed and avarice, a transformation facilitated by the cunning manipulation of the Venetian Doge. The deal was sealed, a pact forged in the shadows, a pact that would irrevocably stain the reputation of the Fourth Crusade. The Crusaders, seduced by the promise of immediate gain, willingly traded their spiritual purpose for material wealth, turning their backs on their declared mission to reclaim Jerusalem. This fateful decision, orchestrated by the Venetian Republic, marked the beginning of a catastrophic chain of events, a series of betrayals and atrocities that would forever tarnish the legacy of this infamous crusade. The path to Jerusalem was abandoned, replaced by a far more lucrative, and deeply morally reprehensible, objective, a testament to the corrupting influence of power and wealth. The Venetians had played their cards masterfully, transforming a holy war into a profitable mercenary campaign, leaving an indelible mark on history, a mark of betrayal, avarice, and the devastating consequences of prioritizing self-interest above all else. The Venetians had not only diverted the Crusade's target, they had fundamentally altered its very nature, forever changing its trajectory from a religious pilgrimage to a brutal, opportunistic conquest. The consequences would be far-reaching and devastating, reverberating through the centuries to come. The seeds of destruction had been sown, not in the Holy Land, but in the treacherous canals of Venice. The year is 1202. The Fourth Crusade, ostensibly a holy pilgrimage to reclaim Jerusalem, finds itself stranded in Venice. A city of shimmering canals and opulent palaces, Venice, however, harbors a different kind of ambition. The Crusaders, a formidable army, are burdened by debt, a debt owed to the Venetian Doge, Enrico Dandolo. Dandolo, a man of shrewd calculation and boundless ruthlessness, sees an opportunity. He proposes a solution, a proposition that would forever stain the annals of history. Forget Jerusalem, for now. There's a far richer prize within reach, a city ripe for the taking. Zara, a wealthy Christian city on the Dalmatian coast, a city that had recently switched allegiance from Venice's rival, Hungary. A city brimming with gold, with silks, with treasures beyond measure. A city that stands in the path of Venetian dominance, a city that must be subdued. The Crusaders, their holy zeal momentarily overshadowed by the glint of gold, are swayed. The promise of immediate wealth, a quick and easy path to financial solvency, tempts them, eclipses the sacred duty they initially swore. The moral compass, once firmly pointing towards Jerusalem, now spins wildly, pulled by the irresistible force of avarice. The Doge's words are honeyed poison, sweet promises masking a bitter truth. He paints a picture of Zara's opulence, of overflowing coffers and jeweled crowns, a scene that ignites the flames of avarice within the hearts of these devout warriors. The call to arms is not for God, not for the Holy Land, but for gold, for power, for the spoils of war. The siege begins. The mighty walls of Zara, once a symbol of Christian strength, now tremble under the relentless assault of the very people they once welcomed. Cannons roar, shattering the silence, their thunderous echo a testament to the treachery unfolding. The once peaceful streets are now filled with the screams of the besieged, the clash of steel, the cries of the dying. The city falls. And with its fall, a wave of unprecedented brutality washes over its inhabitants. The Crusaders, no longer pious pilgrims, but bloodthirsty mercenaries, unleash their fury. Homes are ransacked, churches desecrated, the sacred and the profane alike, subjected to the same merciless plunder. The once proud city, a jewel of Christendom, is reduced to a smoldering ruin, a testament to the insatiable greed that drove this unholy alliance. The wealth of Zara flows into the coffers of the Venetians and the Crusaders, a blood-soaked fortune that buys their silence, that buys their complicity in this act of unspeakable treachery. The blood of Zara stains the very garments of these supposedly holy warriors, a crimson stain that will never be washed away. The memory of Zara, a city betrayed, a city plundered, serves as a chilling reminder of the seductive power of greed, a power capable of twisting even the most sacred of missions into an act of brutal savagery. The echoes of Zara's fall reverberate through history, a stark warning of the consequences of straying from the path of righteousness, a testament to the devastating power of ambition unchecked. The horrifying spectacle of a Christian army sacking a Christian city serves as a grim prelude to even greater horrors that lie ahead, a chilling foreshadowing of the events to come in Constantinople. This act of betrayal, this act of unmitigated greed, sets the stage for the catastrophic events that would forever mark the Fourth Crusade as one of the most shocking and morally reprehensible episodes in history. The wealth of Zara, though vast, could never compensate for the irreparable damage done to the very fabric of Christendom. The stain of Zara remains, a stark reminder of the dark side of human nature, a testament to the devastating consequences of unchecked ambition, and a cautionary tale for all time. The year is 1203. The Fourth Crusade, initially bound for Jerusalem, finds itself inexplicably anchored in Venetian waters. Its path, once divinely ordained, now veers wildly off course, steered by the seductive whispers of ambition and the clinking lure of gold. And at the helm of this treacherous redirection stands Alexios IV, the Byzantine Emperor, a man drowning in desperation and clinging to a desperate gamble. Alexios, a usurper clinging precariously to his throne, faced a formidable challenge. His uncle, Alexios III, the deposed emperor, held considerable support, a simmering rebellion threatening to engulf the Byzantine Empire. Alexios IV, in his desperate bid for survival, turned to the Crusaders, a seemingly unlikely source of salvation. He extended a hand, not in supplication, but in a brazen proposition, a deal forged in the fires of desperation and laced with the potent allure of untold riches. His promise was audacious, a breathtaking gamble that hinged on the Crusaders' avarice and their willingness to abandon their sacred mission. He pledged to restore the Orthodox Church's unity with Rome, a prize of immense religious and political significance. This act alone would secure the Crusaders' place in history, a testament to their piety and their unwavering commitment to Christendom. But his offer went far beyond mere religious reconciliation. Alexios IV promised a staggering sum of money, enough to enrich every crusader beyond their wildest dreams. He pledged to finance their journey to the Holy Land, far exceeding any resources they could muster on their own. This wasn't mere financial assistance, it was a king's ransom, a wealth beyond measure, enough to dwarf the spoils of any earthly conquest. He promised to supply them with provisions, ships, and manpower, transforming their struggling expedition into a formidable force, capable of achieving far more than they had ever imagined. He painted a vivid picture of Constantinople, a city overflowing with treasures, a veritable goldmine awaiting plunder. He spoke of overflowing coffers, priceless artifacts, and the glittering wealth accumulated over centuries of Byzantine rule. This wasn't simply a promise of financial reward, it was a vision of unimaginable opulence, a city ripe for the taking, its riches waiting to be claimed by the Crusaders. He promised military support, guaranteeing a seamless conquest of the Holy Land, a swift and victorious campaign ensured by the combined might of the Byzantine Empire and the Crusader army. His words were carefully chosen, weaving a tapestry of religious zeal, political expediency, and unbridled greed. He appealed to their piety, their ambition, and their insatiable desire for wealth. He understood their motivations, their vulnerabilities, and their willingness to compromise their principles for the promise of immense reward. He dangled the carrot of a glorious victory, a triumphant return home laden with riches and honor, a legacy etched in the annals of history. But his promises, however alluring, were ultimately a mirage. Alexios IV was a man trapped in a web of his own making, his desperate plea for survival masking a deeper, more insidious agenda. His offer, while enticing, was a calculated risk, a gamble with the very fate of the Byzantine Empire. He played on the Crusaders' ambition, expertly exploiting their eagerness for spoils and glory, manipulating them into becoming unwitting pawns in his desperate game of survival. His words, though initially believed, would soon unravel, revealing the treacherous web of deceit he had spun. The Crusaders, seduced by his promises, would soon discover the true cost of their alliance with the Byzantine Emperor, a betrayal that would forever stain the annals of history. The alliance, born from a desperate plea for survival, would soon morph into a devastating betrayal, a catastrophic turn of events that would alter the course of history forever. The glittering promise of riches and support would ultimately pave the way for a far more devastating outcome, the siege and sack of Constantinople. Alexios IV's betrayal was not just a political maneuver, it was a pivotal moment that irrevocably changed the course of the Fourth Crusade, transforming a religious pilgrimage into a brutal act of conquest and plunder. His gamble, fueled by desperation and ambition, would ultimately lead to the downfall of his own empire and the tragic destruction of a magnificent city. The seeds of destruction were sown in his promises, a testament to the perilous consequences of unchecked ambition and the seductive allure of power. The betrayal of Alexios IV stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of alliances, the corrupting influence of greed, and the devastating consequences of placing trust in the hands of a desperate man. The year is 1204. Constantinople, the jewel of the Byzantine Empire, a city shimmering with the legacy of centuries, a beacon of Eastern Christianity, stands under siege. Not by the infidel hordes from the east, as one might expect from a crusade, but by a Western European army, ostensibly there to liberate Jerusalem, yet now focused on a prize far closer, far more tempting. The Fourth Crusade, once a holy pilgrimage, has become a brutal, calculated assault on a fellow Christian city. Imagine the scene: impenetrable walls, centuries old, now battered by siege engines, their stones groaning under the relentless pounding of catapults and battering rams. The air, thick with the stench of sweat, blood, and burning wood, resonates with the screams of the dying and the clash of steel. The once majestic city, a kaleidoscope of magnificent churches, opulent palaces, and bustling marketplaces, is now a battleground, a canvas of chaos painted in shades of fire and destruction. The Crusaders, a ragtag army fueled by avarice and ambition, lay siege, their ranks composed of knights from France, Italy, Flanders, and beyond. Their piety, once a driving force, has been eroded by years of delays, financial difficulties, and a growing hunger for plunder. The promise of Jerusalem has faded, replaced by the irresistible lure of Constantinople's vast wealth and strategic importance. The defenders, the Byzantine soldiers and citizens, fight with desperate courage. They man the walls, their spears and arrows raining down upon the attackers, their faith a shield against the onslaught. But the Crusaders are relentless, their numbers overwhelming, their siege equipment powerful. Breaches are made in the walls, and the city's defenses begin to crumble. The siege is not just a military conflict, it's a clash of cultures, a brutal collision between East and West. The Crusaders, many of whom had never seen such opulence, are awestruck by the city's grandeur, yet blinded by greed. The Byzantines, accustomed to centuries of imperial power, are shocked and betrayed by the attack of their fellow Christians. The siege is a tragic display of human fallibility, a testament to the destructive power of unchecked ambition and the fragility of alliances. Day bleeds into night, the siege continuing with unwavering ferocity. The sounds of battle, the thunderous impact of siege weapons, the clash of swords, the agonized cries of the wounded, become a constant, horrifying soundtrack to the city's demise. The streets, once vibrant with life, are now choked with bodies, a testament to the staggering loss of life. Homes are ransacked, sacred places desecrated, and the city's treasures plundered. The siege of Constantinople is not just a military campaign, it's a profound tragedy, a pivotal moment in history where the ideals of a holy war were completely overshadowed by the brutal realities of greed and political maneuvering. It's a story of betrayal, a story of broken promises, and a story of a city's fall from grace, a fall that resonates through the corridors of history, a stark reminder of the destructive power of human ambition, and the devastating consequences of a crusade gone horribly wrong. The echoes of this bloody assault, this siege that shattered a great Christian city, continue to reverberate through the ages, a chilling testament to the dark side of human nature and the perversion of religious zeal. The siege was a turning point, marking not just the fall of Constantinople, but a profound shift in the balance of power, and the irreversible fracturing of Christendom. The memory of the siege, of the unimaginable suffering and destruction, serves as a grim reminder of the consequences of unchecked ambition and the betrayal of trust. This assault, this siege, stands as a brutal testament to the complexities and contradictions inherent in human history, a cautionary tale for all time. The fall of Constantinople, once a symbol of faith and resilience, became a symbol of betrayal and the devastating consequences of a crusade gone astray. The siege, a brutal and unforgettable chapter in history, remains a powerful illustration of the destructive power of unchecked ambition and the fragility of faith. Its legacy continues to shape our understanding of the complex interplay between religion, politics, and the destructive potential of human nature. The image of Constantinople under siege, a once proud city brought to its knees, serves as a haunting reminder of the devastating consequences of war and the enduring impact of historical events. The echoes of that siege, those sounds of clashing steel and desperate cries, still resonate in the annals of history, a constant reminder of the fragility of civilization and the devastating power of unchecked ambition. The year is 1204. Constantinople, the jewel of the Byzantine Empire, a city shimmering with the accumulated glories of centuries, stands besieged. For weeks, the walls, once impenetrable, have echoed with the relentless battering ram, the screams of the defenders, the thunder of siege engines. Now, the unthinkable has happened. The walls have fallen. The Fourth Crusade, initially intended as a holy pilgrimage to reclaim Jerusalem, has turned into something far more sinister. Driven by avarice and fueled by broken promises, the Crusader army, a force once perceived as righteous, has unleashed a torrent of violence and destruction upon a Christian city. This is not a conquest, this is a massacre. This is the sack of Constantinople. Imagine the scene, a city of breathtaking beauty, a labyrinth of magnificent churches, opulent palaces, and bustling markets, now consumed by chaos. The once sacred Hagia Sophia, a testament to Byzantine artistry, its mosaics glittering under the sun, is ransacked. Its treasures, meticulously crafted over generations, are plundered, its holy relics desecrated, its grandeur defiled. The invaders, no longer pilgrims, but ravenous wolves, tear through the streets, their cries mingling with the wails of the terrified populace. The air hangs heavy with the stench of blood and burning wood. Homes are looted, families are torn apart, and the streets run red with the blood of innocent victims. The sounds of violence, the clash of steel, the screams of the dying, the guttural shouts of the conquerors, create a symphony of horror, an infernal chorus that echoes through the ages. The scale of the destruction is almost beyond comprehension. The city's wealth, accumulated over a millennium, is systematically plundered. Gold, silver, jewels, priceless artifacts, all are carried away by the invaders, leaving behind a trail of devastation that would scar the city for centuries to come. Libraries containing irreplaceable manuscripts, repositories of knowledge and history, are burned to ashes, their contents lost forever. Works of art, masterpieces of Byzantine craftsmanship, are smashed, destroyed, or carried away as spoils of war. This was not a simple military victory, it was a systematic dismantling of a civilization. The Crusaders, supposedly fighting for God, engaged in acts of unimaginable cruelty. They slaughtered civilians, raped women, and desecrated sacred sites. The beauty and splendor of Constantinople, a beacon of culture and learning, was reduced to rubble. The city's very soul was shattered. Historians struggle to capture the full horror of that day. Accounts from the time paint a grim picture of widespread carnage and brutality. The sheer scale of the looting, the destruction of irreplaceable artifacts, the violation of sacred spaces, all serve as a stark reminder of the darkest aspects of human nature. The sack of Constantinople was not just a military event, it was a cultural catastrophe. The city's libraries, its churches, its palaces, all held irreplaceable treasures of human knowledge and artistic expression. These were not merely objects, they were the embodiment of a civilization's history, its values, its very identity. Their destruction represents an immeasurable loss, a wound upon the fabric of human history that continues to resonate even today. For days, the city burned. The cries of the victims, the clash of steel, the crackling of flames, these sounds, echoing through the ravaged streets, marked the end of an era. The once proud capital of the Byzantine Empire, a city that had stood as a bulwark against the forces of darkness for centuries, lay in ruins, a testament to the destructive power of greed and unchecked ambition. The sack of Constantinople remains a stark reminder of the fragility of civilization and the devastating consequences of unchecked power. It stands as a cautionary tale, a chilling testament to humanity's capacity for both magnificent creation and unspeakable destruction. A chapter in history forever stained with the blood and tears of a fallen empire. A legacy of loss that still echoes in the halls of time. The dust settled on Constantinople, the echoes of the sack still ringing in the ears of the survivors. From the ashes of a once great empire, a new power rose, the Latin Empire. A jarring, incongruous entity, born not from organic growth or legitimate conquest, but from the brutal ambitions of the Fourth Crusade. This wasn't the righteous reclamation of holy lands, this was a brazen seizure of power, a blatant act of Western European dominance. Imagine the scene: the Hagia Sophia, once the jewel of Byzantine Christianity, now defiled, its sacred spaces repurposed, its mosaics and icons desecrated, its very essence twisted to serve a new, alien faith. The streets, once bustling with the vibrant energy of a sophisticated civilization, were now choked with the debris of destruction, haunted by the ghosts of a fallen empire. The whispers of Byzantine Greek were replaced by the rougher tones of Latin, a language that spoke not of continuity but of conquest. The Latin Empire, established in 1204, was a chimera, a fragile construct built upon a foundation of betrayal and violence. It wasn't a unified kingdom, but a patchwork of territories, controlled by ambitious barons, each vying for power and influence. Venetian interests weaved deeply into its fabric, their merchants profiting immensely from the spoils of war, their influence shaping the very political landscape of this newly formed dominion. It was a far cry from the unified, centralized power of the Byzantine Empire it replaced. The emperors of this Latin Empire, figures largely forgotten by history, were puppets, their reigns often short and turbulent. They ruled not through genuine authority, but through the brute force of their Frankish armies, a presence that served as a constant reminder of the violent upheaval that had birthed their reign. Their legitimacy was dubious, their power precarious, constantly threatened by internal strife and external pressures. The very ground beneath their feet trembled with the resentment of the conquered population, a simmering discontent that would eventually boil over. The Latin Empire's control extended primarily over Constantinople and its immediate surroundings. But even within these limited boundaries, their authority was tenuous. Rebellions flared frequently, sparked by the Byzantine aristocracy, the clergy, and the common people alike, all yearning for the restoration of their former empire. These uprisings were brutally suppressed, further fueling the cycle of violence and instability. The economic impact was devastating. The sack of Constantinople had crippled the Byzantine economy, and the Latin Empire, despite its initial plunder, failed to revive it. Trade routes were disrupted, the flow of goods and wealth severely curtailed. The once thriving city, a hub of commerce and culture, stagnated under the weight of foreign rule, its economic vitality sapped by years of turmoil. The cultural impact was equally profound. The Byzantine Empire, with its rich history and vibrant culture, was a beacon of learning and innovation. The Latin Empire, in contrast, brought with it a relative cultural barrenness. While some aspects of Western European culture were introduced, it was largely a destructive force, erasing centuries of Byzantine tradition and replacing it with a foreign, often unsympathetic, worldview. The Latin Empire's short-lived existence, lasting a mere 6 decades, serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of power built on violence and betrayal. It was a testament to the disastrous consequences of unchecked ambition and the devastating impact of a crusade gone horribly wrong. Its legacy is not one of triumph, but one of shattered empires, cultural devastation, and a profound sense of loss, a chilling echo of a once magnificent civilization that was brutally extinguished. The fall of Constantinople, and the subsequent establishment of the Latin Empire, remains a pivotal moment in history, a cautionary tale of greed, ambition, and the devastating consequences of a crusade-turned mercenary expedition. The memory of its fleeting dominance serves as a somber testament to the ephemeral nature of power, and the enduring strength of a people's spirit in the face of overwhelming adversity. Its short reign, a testament to the resilience of the Byzantine spirit, ultimately failed to erase the deep wounds inflicted upon the Eastern Roman Empire, a legacy that continues to resonate through the corridors of history. The Latin Empire, a brief and brutal interlude, ultimately succumbed to the enduring spirit of those it sought to conquer. The story of its rise and fall serves as a potent reminder of the destructive power of unchecked ambition and the enduring strength of cultural identity. The sack of Constantinople in 1204 wasn't merely a catastrophic event, it was a seismic shift in the Christian world, leaving an enduring scar on the Eastern Orthodox Church, a wound that continues to resonate through centuries. The city, the heart of Orthodox Christianity, a beacon of faith and learning for a millennium, was brutally violated, its sacred spaces desecrated, its treasures plundered. The sheer scale of the destruction is almost unimaginable. Magnificent churches, icons depicting centuries of devotion, priceless relics, all were subjected to the rapacious greed of the Crusaders. The Hagia Sophia, once a symbol of imperial power and spiritual majesty, was converted into a Catholic cathedral, a blatant act of religious dominance that symbolized the profound humiliation inflicted upon the Orthodox faith. This wasn't simply the destruction of buildings, it was the shattering of a spiritual identity. For centuries, Constantinople had been the center of the Orthodox world, a city where faith and culture were inextricably intertwined. Its fall marked a profound rupture in the unity of Christendom, a chasm that would prove incredibly difficult to bridge. The sack was not merely a military defeat, it was a spiritual trauma, a blow to the very heart of Orthodox belief and tradition. The consequences extended far beyond the immediate devastation. The intellectual and cultural legacy of the Byzantine Empire, a repository of ancient knowledge and artistic brilliance, suffered irreparable damage. Libraries were burned, scholars were dispersed, and centuries of accumulated wisdom were lost or scattered to the winds. The destruction of Constantinople represented the loss not only of physical artifacts but also of an irreplaceable intellectual heritage. This loss profoundly impacted the development of Orthodox theology, scholarship, and art for generations to come. The Fourth Crusade's betrayal shattered the trust between the Eastern and Western churches, a breach that would take centuries, if ever, to fully heal. The Orthodox Church viewed the Western Crusaders not as fellow Christians but as ruthless invaders, driven by avarice and ambition, who had betrayed the very ideals of the Crusade. This deep-seated resentment and mistrust fueled centuries of theological and political conflict, hindering any attempts at reconciliation. The image of the Western Crusaders, once seen as valiant defenders of the faith, was forever tarnished, replaced by a perception of rapacious conquerors. The impact on the everyday lives of Orthodox Christians was equally devastating. The sack of Constantinople resulted in widespread displacement, suffering, and persecution. Countless individuals were killed, wounded, or enslaved, their lives irrevocably altered by the violence and chaos. The spiritual and emotional scars of this trauma were passed down through generations, shaping the collective memory and identity of the Orthodox community. The event became a potent symbol of betrayal and suffering, a stark reminder of the fragility of faith in the face of human greed and ambition. The long-term consequences for the Orthodox Church were profound and far-reaching. The loss of Constantinople as its center shifted the balance of power within the Orthodox world, leading to internal struggles and fragmentation. The Church faced the daunting task of rebuilding its institutions, restoring its spiritual authority, and healing the deep wounds inflicted by the Fourth Crusade. The trauma of 1204 served as a catalyst for internal reform and renewal, but the scars of betrayal and violence remained a constant reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the fragility of faith in the face of human fallibility. The Fourth Crusade's assault on Constantinople wasn't just a historical event, it was a spiritual earthquake. It irrevocably altered the course of Orthodox Christianity, leaving behind a legacy of trauma, mistrust, and a profound sense of loss. The echoes of this devastating event continue to resonate in the Orthodox world today, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of religious hypocrisy, political expediency, and the destructive power of unchecked greed. The fall of Constantinople was more than just a military defeat, it was a spiritual wound that continues to bleed across the centuries, a stark reminder of the human capacity for both faith and betrayal. The memory serves as a constant reminder of the price of misplaced trust and the enduring strength of the Orthodox faith in the face of unimaginable adversity. The struggle for survival and the slow, painstaking rebuilding of a shattered community remain a testament to the enduring spirit of the Orthodox Church. And the lessons learned from this devastating event continue to shape its identity and its understanding of the complexities of faith and power in the world. The Fourth Crusade's legacy continues to shape the Orthodox narrative, a stark reminder of the fragility of alliances, the corrosive nature of greed, and the enduring resilience of the human spirit. The sack of Constantinople in 1204 wasn't merely a catastrophic event, it was a seismic shift that irrevocably altered the course of Byzantine history. For centuries, the Eastern Roman Empire, the shimmering jewel of Christendom, had stood as a bulwark against the encroaching forces of Islam, a beacon of learning and culture, a testament to the enduring power of Roman legacy. But the Fourth Crusade, a pilgrimage twisted into a mercenary expedition, shattered that legacy, leaving behind a weakened empire that would never again reach its former heights. The immediate impact was devastating. The city, once a vibrant metropolis teeming with life, was subjected to a brutal and systematic pillage. Its magnificent churches, repositories of centuries of religious art and sacred relics, were ransacked. The Hagia Sophia, the architectural marvel that had stood for centuries as a symbol of Byzantine power and spiritual authority, was desecrated, its treasures plundered, its sacred spaces defiled. The intellectual heart of the empire, its libraries and archives, were ravaged, priceless manuscripts lost forever to the flames of greed and destruction. The economic consequences were equally catastrophic. The city's wealth, accumulated over centuries of trade and prosperity, was systematically looted, leaving its coffers empty and its economy in ruins. The trade routes that had once flowed through Constantinople, connecting east and west, were disrupted, crippling the empire's ability to generate revenue and maintain its power. The flow of gold, silks, and spices, the lifeblood of the Byzantine economy, was stemmed. Beyond the immediate physical destruction, the Fourth Crusade inflicted a deep psychological wound. The Byzantine people, once proud and confident, were left demoralized and traumatized. Their sense of security and identity was shattered, their faith in the West irrevocably broken. The very foundations of their imperial identity had been torn apart by those who claimed to be fellow Christians. The political ramifications were far-reaching. The empire, already weakened by internal strife and external pressures, was fractured beyond repair. The Latin Empire, established in the aftermath of the sack, was a foreign imposition, resented by the Byzantine population and ultimately unstable. The empire fragmented into smaller, warring states, each struggling for survival against internal rivals and external enemies. The once unified Byzantine state was splintered, its power significantly diminished. The loss of Constantinople as its capital city was a symbolic blow, a devastating defeat that underscored the empire's decline. The city, the heart of the empire for over 1,000 years, was no longer under Byzantine control, a potent symbol of the empire's irreversible decline. The emperors, once powerful rulers commanding vast territories, were reduced to shadow figures, their authority diminished, their influence weakened. The Fourth Crusade's legacy was not merely the destruction of a city, it was the dismantling of an empire. The Byzantine Empire, though it lingered for another 2 centuries, never regained its former glory. Its once vast territories shrank, its power waned, its influence diminished. The golden age of Byzantium was over, extinguished by the very people who claimed to be its allies. The wounds inflicted by the Fourth Crusade ran deep, leaving a lasting scar on the history of the Eastern Roman world, a reminder of the devastating consequences of betrayal, ambition, and unchecked greed. The empire's slow, agonizing decline was a direct result of the catastrophic events of 1204, a testament to the enduring power of a single, devastating act of treachery. The Fourth Crusade served not only as a betrayal of trust but a brutal demonstration of the fragility of even the most powerful empires. The shadow of 1204 would forever darken the Byzantine Empire's final chapters, marking the beginning of its irreversible decline and ultimate demise. The once proud empire, weakened and fragmented, was left to navigate a treacherous path to its inevitable end, never again reaching the pinnacle of power and influence it had once commanded. The Fourth Crusade. A holy war, ostensibly launched to reclaim Jerusalem, the heart of Christendom, from the infidel. Yet, the reality that unfolded was far removed from the pious image projected by its participants. The moral implications of this catastrophic event resonate through history, a chilling testament to the corrosive power of greed and ambition masquerading as religious zeal. We've seen the initial fervor, the promises whispered in hushed tones of reclaiming the holy city. But this narrative quickly unravels, revealing a far grimmer truth. The crusade, initially blessed by the Pope, transformed into something far more sinister, a mercenary expedition. The path to Jerusalem was abandoned, replaced by a brutal, self-serving campaign fueled by avarice and political maneuvering. The sacred vow of religious devotion was traded for the profane pursuit of wealth and power. The very essence of the crusade, the noble intent that supposedly drove it, was systematically eroded, replaced by a chilling pragmatism that prioritized personal gain over spiritual salvation. Consider the attack on Zara, a Christian city. Think of the betrayal of Alexios IV, the Byzantine Emperor, lured by false promises and ultimately murdered. These were not acts of faith, but of calculated aggression, driven by the insatiable hunger for plunder and territorial expansion. The knights, once symbols of righteous fury against the infidel, became agents of destruction, their swords stained not only with the blood of their enemies, but also with that of their fellow Christians. The sacred banner, once a symbol of divine justice, now flew over acts of unspeakable cruelty and violence. This transformation was not accidental. It was the product of a complex interplay of factors: the financial burden of the crusade, the political ambitions of Venice, the internal conflicts within the Crusader army itself. These elements combined to create a perfect storm of avarice and ambition, where the original holy purpose was lost in the pursuit of worldly gains. The knights, initially bound by their religious vows, found themselves increasingly motivated by the promise of riches and the lure of conquest. Their loyalty shifted from God to gold, their piety replaced by a ruthless pragmatism. The moral implications are profound. The Fourth Crusade serves as a stark reminder that even the most devout intentions can be corrupted by human failings. The sanctity of the crusade was violated, its sacred purpose twisted into a grotesque parody of its original intent. The once noble ideal of liberating Jerusalem was replaced by the brutal reality of sacking Constantinople, a major Christian city, an act that shocked the world and left an indelible stain on the conscience of Christendom. This wasn't a battle against the infidel, it was a battle for personal enrichment. The knights, initially motivated by religious zeal, traded their faith for financial reward. The spoils of war, not the salvation of souls, became the ultimate prize. The moral compass spun wildly, pointing not towards Jerusalem, but towards the glittering treasures of Constantinople. The sanctity of human life was disregarded, replaced by a cold calculation of profit and loss. The consequences were devastating. The Byzantine Empire, a bulwark of Christianity in the East, was severely weakened, its rich cultural heritage plundered and its people subjected to unimaginable suffering. The act of attacking Constantinople, a fellow Christian city, shattered the already fragile unity of Christendom, creating a deep chasm that would take centuries to heal. The Fourth Crusade, intended to unite the Christian world against a common enemy, instead sowed the seeds of division and mistrust. The moral bankruptcy of the Fourth Crusade is not just a historical footnote, it's a cautionary tale. It serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition, the seductive power of greed, and the insidious way in which noble ideals can be corrupted by human weakness. The Crusade's transformation into a mercenary expedition stands as a testament to the fragility of faith in the face of avarice and the devastating consequences of prioritizing worldly gain over spiritual purpose. It's a story etched in blood and betrayal, a lesson that continues to resonate with chilling relevance even centuries later. The legacy of the Fourth Crusade is not one of pious devotion, but of profound moral failure. It is a reminder of the human capacity for hypocrisy and the devastating consequences of allowing greed to dictate our actions. The echoes of this betrayal continue to reverberate through the corridors of history, a constant reminder of the moral complexities of war and the importance of maintaining unwavering integrity, even in the face of immense pressure. The Fourth Crusade, in its tragic perversion, stands as a stark warning: the path to hell is often paved with good intentions. The Fourth Crusade. A name whispered with a mixture of awe and revulsion, a testament to the fragility of faith and the corrosive power of ambition. We've explored the shocking events, the brutal sack of Constantinople, the betrayal of trust at every level. But the true legacy of this catastrophic undertaking goes far beyond the immediate carnage. It's a legacy etched in shattered alliances, a legacy of broken oaths and irrevocable damage to the very fabric of Christendom. Consider the Byzantine Empire, once a powerful bulwark against the encroaching forces of Islam, now irrevocably weakened, its capital city defiled, its people traumatized. The Emperor Alexios IV, initially a beacon of hope, a potential ally against the common enemy, had become a pawn, a victim of his own desperate gamble. His promises, his pleas for aid, were ultimately meaningless, replaced by the clang of swords and the screams of the conquered. His betrayal wasn't merely a political maneuver, it was the shattering of a centuries-old bond between East and West, a fissure that would never truly heal. The Venetians, initially presented as allies, revealed themselves as opportunistic mercenaries, their loyalty bought and sold like any other commodity. Their participation was driven not by religious zeal but by the intoxicating allure of profit, a ruthless pursuit of wealth that overshadowed any sense of moral obligation. The lucrative deal struck with the Crusaders marked a turning point, a descent into a moral abyss where religious piety was traded for financial gain. This betrayal wasn't just a breach of trust, it was a stark demonstration of the corrupting influence of power and greed. But the betrayal extended far beyond the immediate players. The very concept of a crusade, a sacred mission undertaken in the name of God, was irrevocably tarnished. The trust that had once bound the disparate factions of Christendom, the papacy, the various European kingdoms, the Byzantine Empire, was shattered, replaced by suspicion, resentment, and a profound sense of disillusionment. The Fourth Crusade became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder that even the most pious intentions could be corrupted by avarice and ambition. The repercussions were far-reaching. The Eastern Orthodox Church, already wary of its Western counterparts, found its suspicions cruelly confirmed. The sack of Constantinople, a city revered as a center of Christian faith and learning, was a devastating blow, a profound act of sacrilege that left a deep wound in the heart of the Eastern Church. The rift between East and West, already present, widened into a chasm, a divide that would influence the course of history for centuries to come. The shattered alliances had lasting consequences. The fragile unity that had, at times, characterized Christendom was irrevocably broken. The mutual trust, so essential for any effective alliance, evaporated, replaced by a deep-seated distrust and suspicion. The Fourth Crusade became a symbol of the treacherous nature of political alliances, a stark reminder that even seemingly unshakable bonds can be broken in the pursuit of power and personal gain. The legacy of betrayal extends even to the present day. Historians continue to grapple with the events of the Fourth Crusade, attempting to decipher the motivations of the key players, to understand the complex web of political intrigue and religious hypocrisy. The unanswered questions, the lingering uncertainties, serve as a constant reminder of the fragility of trust and the devastating consequences of its violation. It is a story that forces us to confront the dark side of human nature, the capacity for betrayal, even in the name of faith. The Fourth Crusade stands as a chilling testament to the enduring power of greed and the devastating consequences of broken trust, a legacy that continues to resonate through the corridors of history. The shattered alliances of 1204 cast a long shadow, a stark warning against the seductive allure of power and the corrosive impact of betrayal. Its echoes reverberate even today, a haunting reminder of the fragility of faith and the enduring power of ambition. The betrayal wasn't just a historical event, it was a profound moral failure, a lesson etched in blood and etched in the annals of history, a lesson that we ignore at our peril. The Fourth Crusade serves as a powerful and enduring reminder of the devastating consequences of broken trust, a testament to the fragility of alliances forged in the name of faith, and a chilling warning against the seductive allure of ambition and greed. The shattered fragments of trust, scattered across the landscape of history, serve as a constant reminder of the price we pay when we betray those we should hold most dear. The Fourth Crusade. A name synonymous with betrayal, violence, and the shattering of sacred vows. But even centuries later, the true motives behind this catastrophic event remain shrouded in a fog of misunderstanding, perpetuated by ingrained historical misinterpretations. We've all heard the simplified narrative, a righteous army, diverted from its holy purpose by avarice and political machinations. While elements of that narrative hold true, the reality is far more nuanced, and far more complex. Let's dissect some of the most persistent misconceptions surrounding the Crusades' objectives. First, the ubiquitous portrayal of the Crusaders as solely driven by greed. While the undeniable plunder of Zara and Constantinople speaks volumes about the avarice of some participants, it's a gross oversimplification to paint the entire army with the same brush. Many Crusaders, particularly those from the lower ranks, were genuinely devout, believing they were undertaking a holy pilgrimage, albeit one tragically misdirected. Their faith, however misguided, fueled their participation. The narrative of pure greed ignores the intricate web of political alliances, personal ambitions, and even genuine religious zeal that motivated these individuals. The idea that the diversion to Constantinople was a spontaneous, impulsive act is another common misconception. The path to the Byzantine capital was paved with months, perhaps even years, of negotiations, betrayals, and shifting alliances. Venice, a powerful maritime republic, played a pivotal role, leveraging its economic influence to steer the crusade away from Jerusalem and towards a far more lucrative target. This wasn't a sudden decision made over a bottle of wine, it was a meticulously crafted plan, born out of strategic calculations and a thirst for power. The sheer complexity of the political maneuvering involved often gets overlooked in simplified accounts. Another persistent myth is the notion that the Byzantine Empire was a unified, monolithic entity, easily conquered by a relatively small crusader army. The empire was fractured, weakened by internal strife and political divisions. Emperor Alexios IV's promises of riches and support were made in a desperate attempt to shore up his authority and secure his crumbling throne. The Crusaders, exploiting these internal weaknesses, capitalized on the empire's vulnerabilities. The fall of Constantinople wasn't simply a testament to the Crusaders' military might, but also a reflection of the Byzantine Empire's own internal decay. Furthermore, the Crusade is often presented as a purely Western European endeavor, a clash between Catholic West and Orthodox East. This ignores the significant participation of various other groups, including Normans, Venetians, and even some elements within the Byzantine Empire itself. The motivations and allegiances within the Crusader army were far from homogeneous. Individual crusaders had their own reasons for participation, ranging from religious fervor to the promise of wealth and land. The simplistic narrative of a unified Catholic force against a monolithic Orthodox empire obscures the multifaceted nature of the participants and their varied motivations. The narrative often simplifies the consequences, focusing solely on the immediate destruction and looting of Constantinople. While the sack of the city was undoubtedly a catastrophic event, the long-term repercussions were far-reaching and profoundly shaped the political and religious landscape of the Eastern Mediterranean for centuries to come. The establishment of the Latin Empire, the lasting damage to the Orthodox Church, and the weakening of the Byzantine Empire, these were all consequences that extended far beyond the immediate aftermath of the siege. A simplified narrative fails to capture the devastating ripple effect of this event. Finally, the Crusades' legacy is often framed as a purely negative event, a complete and utter failure. While the devastating consequences are undeniable, the Fourth Crusade also inadvertently contributed to the rise of new powers and the reshaping of trade routes. The complex interplay of these positive and negative outcomes is frequently ignored in favor of a more simplistic, morality play narrative. It's crucial to understand the Fourth Crusade not simply as a story of unmitigated evil, but as a complex historical event with multifaceted consequences, both intended and unintended. By recognizing the nuances and complexities surrounding the Fourth Crusade, we can move beyond the simplistic, often misleading narratives and gain a deeper understanding of this pivotal moment in history. Only then can we truly appreciate the enduring legacy of this shocking event and its profound impact on the world. The Fourth Crusade. A tale of betrayal, bloodshed, and breathtaking ambition. Yet, even amidst the documented horrors, the meticulously recorded betrayals, and the undeniable scale of destruction, a profound mystery persists. A shadow hangs over the entire event, a question mark etched into the very fabric of history: who truly orchestrated this catastrophic deviation from a holy mission? The official narratives, the accounts penned by participants and chroniclers alike, offer explanations, justifications, even attempts at exoneration. But these explanations often ring hollow, laced with self-serving pronouncements and convenient omissions. The sheer scale of the conspiracy, the intricate web of alliances and betrayals, suggests a level of planning and coordination far beyond the capabilities of any single individual or faction. Was it the Venetians, masters of maritime power and cunning diplomacy, who subtly steered the Crusaders towards Constantinople, driven by avarice and a desire to cripple their Byzantine rivals? Their financial stake in the crusade was undeniable, their influence on its course undeniable, yet was their influence the guiding hand, or merely a skillfully played card in a larger game? Or did the Byzantine Emperor, Alexios IV, unknowingly play a pivotal role in his own downfall? His desperate plea for aid, his promises of riches and the restoration of the Eastern Roman Empire, were they merely desperate gambits, or carefully crafted lures designed to draw the Crusaders into a trap? Did he truly anticipate the devastating consequences of his appeal, or was he tragically manipulated by forces beyond his comprehension? The Pope, Innocent III, ostensibly the spiritual leader of the crusade, remains a figure shrouded in ambiguity. His pronouncements on the sanctity of the mission stand in stark contrast to the brutal reality of the events that unfolded. Was he a passive observer, unaware of the true intentions of the participants, or a silent accomplice, his complicity masked by pious rhetoric? Did he sanction the diversion, or was he simply powerless to control the forces he had unleashed? And what of the lesser players, the ambitious nobles, the opportunistic mercenaries, the countless individuals whose motives remain obscured by the passage of time? Their actions, individually insignificant, collectively contributed to the unfolding catastrophe. Were they mere pawns in a larger game, or were their individual ambitions the true catalysts for the Crusade's tragic trajectory? The surviving documents, fragmented and often contradictory, offer tantalizing clues, but no definitive answers. The accounts of participants are colored by their own biases, their self-preservation, their desperate attempts to justify their actions. The silence of many, the deliberate obfuscation of others, only deepens the mystery. We are left with a tapestry of unanswered questions, a puzzle with missing pieces. Did a single mastermind orchestrate the entire sequence of events, pulling the strings from the shadows? Or was it a confluence of individual ambitions, a chaotic convergence of greed, power, and religious fervor, that inexorably led to the sack of Constantinople? The enduring mystery of the Fourth Crusade's orchestration serves as a stark reminder of the limitations of historical narratives. The official accounts, the accepted interpretations, often fail to capture the full complexity of past events. The Fourth Crusade stands as a testament to the enduring power of human ambition, the seductive allure of power, and the unpredictable consequences of unchecked greed. And it is in this enduring mystery, this unresolved enigma, that the true horror of the Fourth Crusade ultimately resides. A chilling reminder that history, even when meticulously documented, often conceals more than it reveals. The unanswered questions, the lingering doubts, continue to haunt us, a testament to the enduring power of the unknown and the ever-present possibility of misinterpretations and hidden agendas. The whispers of conspiracy linger on, a testament to the enduring power of unanswered questions. The Fourth Crusade remains not only a brutal historical event, but a compelling puzzle, its orchestration a mystery that continues to fascinate and frustrate historians to this day. The truth, it seems, remains buried under layers of deception, ambition, and the passage of time, a testament to the complexities and uncertainties inherent in unraveling the threads of history. The quest for answers continues, a testament to our enduring fascination with the dark side of human nature and the enduring mystery that remains at the heart of the Fourth Crusade. The Fourth Crusade. A name whispered with a mixture of awe and revulsion, a historical event shrouded in the shadows of betrayal and bloodshed. We often romanticize the Crusades, painting them as valiant struggles for the Holy Land, driven by unwavering faith. But the Fourth Crusade shatters this idealized image, revealing a darker, more complex truth, a cautionary tale etched in the annals of history, a testament to the corrosive power of greed, ambition, and religious hypocrisy. Forget the pious pronouncements and the banners emblazoned with religious symbols. The reality was far grimmer, far more insidious. This wasn't a holy war waged in the name of God, it was a brutal power play, a meticulously orchestrated campaign fueled by avarice and the insatiable hunger for power. The participants, ostensibly devout Christians, were driven by motives far removed from spiritual enlightenment. They were mercenaries in holy robes, their piety a convenient facade masking their true intentions. Consider the staggering scale of the betrayal. The initial objective, the liberation of Jerusalem, was swiftly abandoned, sacrificed on the altar of personal gain. The crusade, initially intended to strike at the heart of Muslim power, instead turned its wrath upon fellow Christians, upon cities that held no threat to the Holy Land. Zara, a Christian city, fell victim to a shocking, calculated attack, its wealth plundered to satisfy the insatiable greed of the Crusaders. This act, a grotesque violation of religious principles, foreshadowed the even greater atrocities to come. The Byzantine Empire, a fellow Christian power, was not spared from the Crusaders' wrath. Emperor Alexios IV, in a desperate bid for survival, offered the Crusaders vast sums of money and military support in exchange for their assistance in reclaiming his throne. A promise, however, that was as hollow as the piety of the men who made it. Once Alexios IV fulfilled his part of the bargain, he was swiftly disposed of, his fate a chilling reminder of the Crusaders' utter disregard for oaths and alliances. The siege of Constantinople, the heart of the Byzantine Empire, remains one of the most shocking events in medieval history. A city renowned for its magnificent architecture, its rich culture, its profound historical significance, was subjected to a brutal and protracted siege. The ensuing sack of Constantinople was an unparalleled act of vandalism and destruction. Centuries of accumulated knowledge, art, and architectural marvels were plundered, looted, and destroyed. The city's sacred treasures, its priceless relics, were either stolen or desecrated, leaving an indelible scar on the cultural landscape of the world. The establishment of the Latin Empire, a short-lived dominion carved out of the ruins of the Byzantine Empire, serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked ambition. The Crusaders, having achieved their goals through violence and treachery, established a fragile, unstable empire that ultimately crumbled under the weight of its own brutality. The Eastern Orthodox Church, deeply wounded by the betrayal and destruction, bore the brunt of the fallout, its spiritual authority and influence irrevocably diminished. The Fourth Crusade wasn't just a military campaign, it was a profound moral failure. It exposed the hypocrisy at the heart of religious fervor, revealing how easily piety could be manipulated to serve the basest of human desires. It stands as a stark warning against the dangers of unchecked ambition, the corrupting influence of greed, and the devastating consequences of betraying fundamental principles in the pursuit of power. It is a story that echoes through the ages, a grim reminder of the fragility of alliances, the ease with which faith can be twisted, and the enduring legacy of human fallibility. The Fourth Crusade serves as a cautionary tale, a chilling testament to the darkest aspects of human nature, a story that continues to resonate with profound implications for our understanding of history, power, and the enduring struggle between faith and ambition. It is a story we must remember, lest we repeat its tragic mistakes. The echoes of Constantinople's fall still reverberate, a constant reminder of the devastating consequences of greed, ambition, and religious hypocrisy. Let us learn from the past, and strive to prevent such atrocities from ever being repeated. The lessons of the Fourth Crusade are timeless, and their relevance remains as potent today as it was centuries ago. It is a story that deserves to be told, and retold, as a constant reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of unwavering moral integrity. The Fourth Crusade, a cautionary tale for all time.